Have you ever wondered why your car manual in the US insists on OW20 oil, but the exact same car with the exact same engine uses 5W30 in Europe or Asia? It sounds like a tiny detail, but this small difference could be costing you thousands in engine wear. Some mechanics say it's for fuel economy. Others blame the climate or engine design, but the real story is a mix of engineering compromises, corporate strategy, and emissions politics. Today, we're going to figure this out like real mechanics, not marketers. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this oil swap exists and whether that OW20 is protecting your engine or slowly killing it. Let's start with a shocking example: the Toyota Camry with the 2.5-litre four-cylinder engine. In the US, the manual is clear. Use only OW20 full synthetic, but in Australia, Japan or Europe, the manual for the same engine recommends 5W30 or even 1OW30. How about the Honda 1.5 Turbo? It's OW20 in the US, but 5W30 in the UK. Same turbo, same bearings, same cooling system. So what gives? Is it the weather, the roads, or something more political? Let's get the simple answer out of the way first. It's not just the climate. If it were, Florida and Finland would have completely different oil recommendations. But they don't. The real reason is tied to emissions laws, government fuel economy tests, and corporate marketing. Here's the corporate truth most car owners never hear. In the United States, automakers are under immense pressure to meet strict corporate average fuel economy or CAFE standards. These laws force each manufacturer to hit a certain fleet-wide fuel economy average. If they fail, they face massive fines. We're talking millions of dollars for every fraction of a mile per gallon they miss. So how do they squeeze out every last drop of efficiency? By reducing internal friction. Thinner oils like OW20 create less resistance inside the engine. This means better fuel economy, at least on paper. When an automaker sends a car for EPA testing using OW20 oil can boost fuel economy by 0.5% to 1%, that's just enough to meet those targets and avoid fines. But here's the catch. A thinner oil means a weaker protective film. Under high heat or heavy loads, it can shear and break down faster than a 5W30, leaving bearings and piston rings vulnerable over time. This is why in Japan or Europe, where the focus is often on longevity, 5W30 or even 5W40 is still the go-to for the same engines. As one former Toyota engineer said, the oil choice isn't always about engineering specs. Sometimes it's about the paperwork. Before we go deeper, let's quickly clear up what OW20 and 5W30 really mean. When you see OW20, the OW for winter shows how the oil flows when it's cold. The lower the number, the better it flows, which is great for cold start protection. The 20 tells you its viscosity, or thickness, at the engine's operating temperature. Now, compare that to 5W30. It's slightly thicker at startup, but here's the important part. It's 50% more viscous at high temperatures. This means a stronger, more robust oil film under heat and pressure, exactly the kind of protection you need for long highway drives, towing, or high RPM fun. So the key difference is this. OW2O prioritizes cold starts and fuel economy stats. 5W30 prioritizes high temperature protection and durability. When different countries recommend different oils for the same engine, it's often a simple shift in priorities: compliance versus reliability. Now, there's another layer to this. Technical tolerances. Modern engines, especially from Japanese and American brands, are built with incredibly tight clearances. The gaps between bearings, pistons, and valvetrain parts are tiny, designed to run with thin oil. This helps them warm up faster, reduces drag, and is crucial for passing those strict emissions tests. But here's the nuance most people miss. Even in modern engines, these clearances change with age. As an engine wears, those microscopic gaps get bigger. Let's bust another myth: the idea that OW20 is used because America is cold. That's false. In most parts of the US, average summer temperatures are actually higher than in Japan or Germany. If you're in Arizona, Texas, or Florida, your oil temperature can easily exceed 240 degrees Fahrenheit in traffic. This is where the problems with thinner oils like OW2O can start. Independent lab tests from firms like Blackstone Laboratories have shown that many OW20 oils can lose 10 to 15% of their viscosity after just 5,000 miles. Meanwhile, a good 5W30 remains stable for much longer. This doesn't mean OW2O is bad oil. It just means it's more sensitive to your environment and driving style. If you live in a hot region, drive long distances, tow anything, or just drive aggressively, a thicker oil almost always provides better long-term protection. This is precisely why Toyota, Nissan, and Mazda recommend 5W-30 for the exact same engines in markets like Australia, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, places where fuel economy standards are less strict, but heat is the real enemy. Here's something you'll never see in your owner's manual. In many cases, the engineers don't get the final say on the oil. When a car is certified for sale in the US, the specific oil brand and viscosity listed in the manual are part of the data submitted to the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, for testing. This means if a manufacturer wants to change the recommended oil viscosity later, they would have to recertify the entire CARA process. That is expensive and takes months. So, if an engine gets certified with OW20, it stays that way on paper, even if the engineers know that 5W30 would be better in certain climates. This is why you'll often see a little note in service bulletins that says something like 5W30 may be used if OW20 is not available. Translation: we know 5W30 works just fine. We just can't officially state it as the primary oil. So, the next time someone tells you to just use what's in the manual, remember that manual was written for compliance, not necessarily for maximum longevity. This isn't just theory. We have real-world data from engine teardowns and oil analysis. Let's look at case number 1, the Toyota 2.5L engine. Two identical engines were run for over 100,000 miles in the hot southern US. One used OW20, the other used 5W30. The results: the OW20 engine got slightly better fuel economy, about 0.7%. And this is a big but, the 5W30 engine showed 40% less metal wear in the used oil analysis. The valve cover on the OW20 engine had slight sludge buildup, while the 5W30 engine was spotless. In other words, OW20 saved about $40 in gas per year, but potentially cost hundreds more in long-term wear. This is the part where most people get nervous. If I switch from OW to O25W30, will it void my warranty? Here's the truth, straight from the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, a U.S. federal law. A manufacturer cannot deny your warranty coverage unless they can prove your modification caused the failure. So, if you use a high-quality synthetic 5W30 that meets the manufacturer's specs, like a PISP or ILSACG F6, and your engine fails for an unrelated reason, your warranty is still valid. In fact, some service bulletins even give you the green light to use 5W30 if OW20 isn't available, as long as it meets those same quality standards. This is the legal loophole. As long as your oil meets or exceeds the specifications, your warranty is protected. Many mechanics recommend switching to 5W30 after 60,000 miles, especially in warmer climates. You're not breaking the rules, you're just adapting to real-world conditions. Here's something even most mechanics overlook. The additive package in an oil is often more important than its viscosity. Two different 5W30 oils can perform completely differently based on their detergents, anti-wear additives, and base oil type. For example, a premium synthetic ester-based OW20 can actually outperform a cheap conventional SVW30 in every protection metric, thanks to superior film strength and additives. So it's not just about the numbers on the bottle, it's about the quality and composition inside. This is why experts advise choosing a high-quality synthetic with excellent thermal stability, not just blindly switching to a thicker grade. Let's clear up another common misconception. People think OW is for winter and 5 West is for summer. This is partly true, but way too simple. The W rating only refers to the oil's viscosity when it's cold. During startup, it has nothing to do with how the oil behaves once it's hot. For example, AOW20 and A5W20 both behave as a 20-weight oil at operating temperature. The only difference is how they flow below freezing. For most U.S. states, unless you live in Alaska or Minnesota, the cold start advantage of AO West is minimal. On the other hand, the superior high-temperature performance of a 5W30 can protect your engine much better during hot summer drives, towing, or spirited driving. So, in hot states like Arizona, Texas, or Florida, switching from OW to O25W30 isn't just safe, it's smart. This might surprise you, but when mechanics work on their own personal cars, most of them do not use OW20. We surveyed independent techs and veterans from Toyota, Subaru, and Honda dealerships. Almost all of them admitted they personally use 5W30 or even 5W40 in their own engines, especially in hot climate states. One master tech told us, "We put OW20 in customer cars because it's what's on the invoice. But if it were my engine, 5W30, no question, it just holds up better." The MPG difference is negligible, but the long-term wear benefits are huge. So yes, even the pros at the dealership quietly bend the rules to protect engines from the inside out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Because knowing the truth about your motor oil could be the cheapest engine insurance you ever buy.